Let's talk about the best quarterbacks in the country, the most highly touted quarterbacks. Really, it's circled around three of them, and we've seen them all on the field already. We already understand who they are. Spencer Rattler out of Oklahoma, JT Daniels out of Georgia, and we're talking about Sam Howell, Hack's pick for his Dark Horse National Champion at North Carolina. Let's go one by one and really have a look at these guys. When you watch Spencer Rattler, highly touted, Elite 11, All-America high school kid coming out of Arizona, goes to one of the most storied offenses, one of the best offensive coordinators with Lincoln Riley. What do you see when you isolate his play, Bryce Petty, in a conference that you're more than familiar with in Rattler? What do you see, what do you like, and what does success look like for him?
Yeah, I'll start with the latter first. What success looks like for him is national championship. I think that those guys are poised to do that. I think that it's been in a circulation in terms of off-season, spring ball, summer workouts, fall camp. Those guys know what they need to do to be productive and what, to your point, is considered a success. I don't think it's just about getting through Big 12. I don't think it's just about getting to the college football playoff. I think it's about winning a national championship. What I see in Spencer Rattler is a guy that's been through the ebbs and flows. It's what Trevor and I talked about on our podcast last week. This cat can play. This cat can make every throw that you need him to play. And what I love about him is the fact that Lincoln Riley does what he needs to do to put this guy in the best chance to be successful. And that's when you have a productive team, also a productive player. This guy is a catalyst to their offense, just like Baker Mayfield, just like Kyler Murray, just like Jalen Hurts. Lincoln Riley knows quarterbacks. He knows how to get these guys in comfortable positions. I love what he can do with a football in his hand, off-balance throws. George, what we did when we were working out, for the combine, things with the broom, all those kind of stuff. That guy can make look really easy, which coming from a quarterback position, you really respect, because those guys, the idea of throwing off balance, the idea of making plays when things break down, those are not easy. You have to be able to just naturally have that ability. I think this guy naturally has that ability. And so I love this guy, Spencer Rattler.
Hack, when you get a chance to watch him, now he's going into his second year, first year as a starter. He really didn't get the full season. He does have a couple years as an apprenticeship behind, really NFL starters. He's been behind Kyler, who's starting. He's been behind Jalen, who's starting. What do you think he pulled from them, and where do you see him as a player, and is he our best prospect today?
I don't know if he's our best prospect today. I think the body of work needs to show it consistently. But here's what I will say, and this is one thing that you brought up a ton, George, throughout this entire conversation, is the pieces around him provide for him to be successful without him having to play outside of himself. I think the system's time-tested and proven. You have Baker, you have Jalen, you have Kyler. A ton of these guys have a ton of success in that system. I think that's a huge credit to Lincoln. He puts these guys in great situations to be successful, play in, play out, week in, week out. I think he does have a lot of green grass throws, what I call green grass throws. Yeah. There's a ton of zone in that conference. The way it's schemed up, a lot of these throws he's throwing to guys that are wide open and or not wide open, but have space. I think he has all the tools. I think he has everything you want from an intangible standpoint. I think he's tough. I think Bryce mentioned this. We were talking earlier in the week about how he got pulled one game, thrown back in. The kid doesn't flinch. He's got a great demeanor to him, and I think I really respect that. I think his running ability is closer to Baker in terms of a guy who can get out there, get you yards, do what he needs to do. Not quite as explosive as a Kyler, but is definitely a threat there. I'm really excited to see him take some steps in the year two, and I think if everything plays out the way Bryce sees it, He's going to start doing some more man coverage and be forced to make some big-time throws and some tight windows, which is what I'm excited to see. I think he's shown that he can throw, the ball down the field. He's shown that he can throw it within the system to green grass. I want to see him start making some contested throws because, to me, that's what's going to separate him at the next level, because that's what you're going to see is a lot of timing, tight window, contested throws. I don't necessarily think that the system has, to this point, given him opportunities to do that, play in, play out consistently throughout a game. Not saying he hasn't done it. I'm sure he has. But when you look at him and you watch his highlights and you watch the throws that he's made, there's a lot of guys running wide open. So I'm excited to see him take these steps and take that program to the next level, playing the SECs, bringing a ton of man coverage, matchup football.
I agree, Hack. Actually, I agree with both of you. To that point with Chris, people have to realize, yes, an individual player comes in with talent. They come in with those tools. What can they do in isolation? But what do I do in terms of a system is greatly dependent on scheme, tactics, and your offensive coordinator. Green grass throws. Like, my eyes just lit up. Because when you do watch Oklahoma quarterbacks, and that's watching Jalen Hurts throw for 300 yards in the first half, a lot last year, like 300 yards in the first half. Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield, Lincoln Riley will get guys open. And at Oklahoma, those guys are usually 5-star, 6-star wide receivers. If you walk the Oklahoma wide receiver group out and line them up on the sidewalk, all but 2 are going to go into the NFL. Most of them are going to be starters, and the other 2 just either didn't go to class or just did something knuckleheadish. Every single kid in that wide receiver room is going. He's surrounded by talent. He's surrounded by speed. Like CeeDee Lamb with the Dallas Cowboys has only been there 2 years. You got guys like that are all over the NFL. To the other point, contested throws. I think that's an incredibly important measure of a young quarterback. He's just not going to get them. There's only really 2 or 3 secondaries that can really kind of line up with the Sooners. Texas, TCU, and Iowa State really by scheme and not really by man-to-man talent. So he's still not going to really see that. So
not in the conference.
Yeah, and you're not going to get it in the conference.
So time out. Is this a demerit? Like the fact that Lincoln Riley puts these kind of schemes and look, you had to play TCU, Oklahoma State, Iowa State, and you have green grass throws. That's supposed to demerit me from being the best player on the field? Okay, perfect. I just wanted to make sure. I'll sit back. It
changes what success looks like. So success for Rattler is consistency. And you should be blowing the doors off of everybody in your conference. And you do need to go see the new neighbor. The new neighbor playing the loud music, double parking everywhere, and with all the pit bulls is Iowa State. That's who you got to go see, and you got to go through them. You got to restore. That's what success looks like. We're not going to worry about numbers. He's not going to find pressure. He's not going to be sacked. He's going to be supported. Consistency. Let's jump now. You guys both mentioned this youngster. I met him when he was a 6th and 7th grader down at our camps. Former Trojan, current Bulldog, El Capitan, JT Daniels. Bryce, give us your take on JT Daniels. What do you see, and what is Georgia going to expect out of him going forward?
I really like him, and he was my dark horse until I figured out this had to be outside of the top 5 to be a dark horse, and simply because of what they're building, down there in Georgia. So I kind of compare him to crazy enough a former USC guy in Matt Barkley, right? This guy's not going to put you in bad situations. He's not going to turn the ball over. He's going to be a product of his environment, and there's nothing wrong with that. Georgia and Kirby Smart recruit well. Do what you need to do to move the change and get down the field and eventually score touchdowns. Look, put it on your defense. There's nothing wrong with that. So I love this kid. I think that he's really, really good. Look, COVID messed up everything in terms of the spring ball and the fall camp of last year. Those guys had to go play. Now they've had a full year of in the system, a full year of spring ball, a full year of camp. I'm really excited to see what this kid does. Hack, this was your kind of favorite in terms of who your national champion. What do you think about JT?
Yeah, no, I think the system fits him well. To me, he's the most pro-ready guy. I think he's got phenomenal footwork. He's tight. He's concise. He throws the ball with timing, and not a demerit, like I said, against Rattler, but due to the fact that it's in the DNA of the conference. When you watch JT throw the football, he's throwing contested balls with accuracy on time, and that's what you need to see for a guy moving on to the next level. And I think that only makes things easier when you do have those dogs that he has down in Georgia that can flat out get it, similar to that other bracket of 5 that we talked about in terms of talent around him. When you do start seeing teams who are that more bend, don't break, let's play quarters, let's see if we can outscore them type of defenses, he's going to get some of those green grass throws, and those guys are going to be able to make plays after the catch. So I think he layers the ball well. I think you see different tempos from him. He's got great touch. He spins it unbelievably well. And like I said, I'm in love with how tight and concise his feet are, how on time he throws the ball and delivers the ball. And like I said, I think the system really plays well into what his strengths are and puts him in situations to showcase those things. So that's why I think it's the perfect storm for him. But the other thing is I'm really impressed with how much he throws the ball between the hashes. You know, I think there's 2 games as a quarterback. The outside the hash game, one-on-one game, which a lot of guys have. But really, and Bryce, you can attest to this, we all can attest to this, we've seen guys, where you make your monies between the hashes, those tight window, like I said, those tight window throws. He makes a lot of throws like that week in, week out that are very, very impressive. And I really like him. I think he's poised for a really good year. And like I said, obviously my national champion pick. I think the team's built for him, and I'm excited to see what he does. Big one against Clemson to start. So
big one.
I agree with both to a large degree. Bryce, he is a product of his environment, but I think he can also amplify the environment. Some guys are carried by that program, and they just merely have to steer. We don't have to put names out there, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Other guys drive and generate the entire deal. Like they're driving and they hop out and they push the thing like it's out of gas. They hop back in, they steer it. Desmond Ridder. Now, don't get me wrong. Cincinnati has a talented group and a talented outfit, but he has to do more. He's got to do more.
Yes.
So, Bryce, you also made a great point about JT as a full off season. Remember, when he got to Georgia, he was hurt. Didn't get a chance to get in there and battle and compete. Hack, I agree with you. It is a system fit. Downhill running, multiple sets. There's a lot of responsibility at the line of scrimmage, which is what you want. You can dictate terms many different ways. Do it by having a really dynamic athlete, a Lamar Jackson, a Bryce Petty type. Wait a second. A Lamar Jackson type.
Wait. Hey, I appreciate it. Look, if my wife paid you to say that, I appreciate it. But let's not. That's a stretch. That's a stretch. I appreciate it. My God.
That's just for those on their third. That's for those guys on their 3rd or 4th round out there rolling with us. In fact,
no doubt.
Shout out to them. Shout out to them.
Shout out to the Turk Monster that gets everybody every once in a while. We'll just say that.
But you can dictate terms. You could dictate terms with an incredible athlete. You could dictate terms with pace, right? If you just put the gas pedal down, no huddle, how intense are you with your lineup? And you could dictate terms at the line of scrimmage. Multiple play calls coming out of the huddle. Check with me's, miking and remiking. You could really just give him the system up front, and the defense can't be right. It's going to be a matter of you guys execute. I think they have that with JT. And Hack, I also agree with you. He probably is one of the most pro-ready ones. I don't know if he's more pro-ready than Howell or Rattler in terms of being able to process and play, but he's certainly been in a system with full field reads and full responsibility up front, especially in protections. And he is going to have those contested throws. Lastly, playing inside the hash, and I had that exact same thing. I was talking about throwing over the middle, and Hack, you said it the other way. It requires really three things: understanding of timing, right? Understanding of windows, and you have to have guts. Yep. If you're really going to a dagger or a dig, and you're going to try to go first window, second window, and for people at home, when you watch college football, we all want to throw run up top. I love the matchup. His ass is toast. Let's go get it. Let's go get him. We all want to take advantage of getting it outside to the flats, like every one of us. And we all want to play outside the numbers. But as these two guys who have made a living doing this on here with me, playing over the middle requires a lot, a little different skill set. You must have a hose to get outside and compete on a comeback or a deep out. Like, you got to have real hardware. You got to have timing, intuition, and you got to have just real cojones to play across the middle, let alone make a lift across the middle. And I will give it to you, Hack, on JT Daniels. For my money, he's more talented than Jake Fromm. So I kind of look at this as they're going to go back. They're going to rely on, that running game coming off of draws and screens. They have a guy to get him out of third down. He can mitigate damage. He's a true pocket passer. But the two questions I have is, can he throw guys open? So great route, great coverage. He's going to be coming up against a lot of future NFL defensive backs. Can he throw guys open? Great route, great coverage. Can he be the difference maker? And can he keep alive? They're going to be seeing all kinds of werewolves and monsters in that conference, and we will get a chance to see it. He'll be protected. He's going to be supported. But there's going to be 5 or 6 times a game where it might just be a couple side steps and climbing and throwing something off the wrong foot. He doesn't need to go 6 yards. You guys know it, but I love it. Last one. Let's not certainly not because of any order, but Sam Howell. Hack, you talked about him. Bryce, you talked about him. I love him. Probably the most honest guy of all three of them. Sam Howell, North Carolina, he brought them and restored that swagger from a whole program perspective, if you think about it. Sam Howell, Bryce, what do the people at home need to be aware of when they're watching him?
Yeah, I think you honestly said it best. I mean, I've kind of alluded to it before. I think you have beard. I think you have visor. And I hate the word swag. I think it's so overused today. But the guy it just oozes. I mean, it's
wait. You like the term ooze over the term swag. Hold on a second.
I like the swag oozes off of him.
He's drippy.
If that makes sense. If that makes sense. So the idea is, I don't have a mustache or beard or both. I try really hard. I don't have a visor. I never had that game. But look, the idea is that for Mack Brown, what he does for this group, there is a certain type of ignition that this guy brings. I have compared him to a Gardner Minshew of sorts, in the sense that the team rolls out of the tunnel. The team rolls out of the huddle with him. If he can bring his A game on each and every game that they play, I think this kid, look, the sky is the ceiling for him. I love what they do. I love how they allow him to make big plays. Can they reproduce what they did last year? Again, who knows? But I think that they have the right guys back, to Hack's point earlier. They have the big guys up front to do that, which is a massive thing. If you're comfortable tossing the pill, the sky's the limit. And I think that these guys will allow him to sit back there, make his reads, bring out the little KD swagger on the free throw line. If you can do that with this cat, I think that the sky's the limit. And Mack Brown wants his guys to make plays. If you remember Vince Young, the game of all games against USC, Vince Young, that guy oozed that type of mentality. I think he likes, not that I'm comparing Sam Howell to Vince Young by any means, but what I'm saying is that the swag is there, though. The sauce and the pizzazz is there. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm right. Please, by all means, because I'd love to bring this back to my wife that I'm right.
Yeah, you're on it. I think he does. The guys play for him. He does have that Minshew-esque. The guys do play for him. I said it about him when he was a freshman. I loved his game, and I think comparables like a Zach Wilson, but more battle tested. I think he's got some elements of his. He's got some elements of his game where he does get outside the pocket. He can hurt you with his feet a little bit. But like I said before, he does have that gunslinger in him. He's a little bit Brett Favre-ish. Doesn't care too much about stuff looking right or pretty or footwork or timing. He just finds it and gets it done. And then I think what separates him, especially in the ACC, is that he is deadly accurate, 25 yards plus, explosive plays. And the two receivers they had last year were guys that could flat out get it, and he could get it to them, and it worked out really well. So I think him year 3, and he's only gotten better. And with the perfect storm of returning talent on both sides of the football, he's poised for a really good year. And like I said, I respect guys who are physically tough, mentally tough, make everyone else around them better, and play with the fearlessness that I think Sam Howell plays with. And
two things real quick, Hack. Can you get through Miami in your conference, and can you get through Charlotte? Because Clemson's going to be waiting at Charlotte.
And I made that point. If they beat Miami, the vast majority of their side of the conference is weak. If they beat Miami, they're good, and then they just have to pretty much put a big circle on Charlotte and beating Clemson and making a statement. And that's a lot easier said than done.
Yep.
But
right.
The perfect storm is brewing for them to be able to do it. And I think for Sam Howell to put a stamp on his career, if this is it for him, that's what he needs to do. I think he needs to go beat Clemson and make a run at it. Other than that, from an accolade standpoint, how he plays, prospect, all that stuff, he's proven it. He's done it for 3 seasons, or will be 3 seasons. So I love the kid's game. I'm excited about him. He is that new wave of quarterback. He plays off timing because timing's out the window. He does what he needs to do. He's confident. He does what you need. He does what you need.
He's that guy. He's that guy, George. You know what I mean? Like he's that dude. To where if you're sitting like, hey, this guy doesn't play defense, but he's gonna sit at the 3-point line and you can dish to him and he can smoke it. That's that dude. That's that dude.
Thanks for watching the video, guys. If you liked what you saw here, please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button. Maybe leave a comment. Interactions like that really do help grow the channel, and they help more people like you find this content. So if you liked what you saw here today and you want to help me out, that's all you got to do. See you on the next video.